What's going on, guys? Indy here with Ultimate Tool Reviews, and I got a great video for you today. So this is pretty much all of the XGT Impact drivers you can buy. Now I will say there probably is maybe like one or two out there in some select countries that are probably slightly different. The one of them that I am aware of that is not included in the current lineup of XGTs that I've got here before you is going to be the Generation 1, which is right here, the Japanese version of this one. But it's still very similar to the USA version that I have here, so let's jump right into it. Alright, so if you're looking for a XGT Impact driver, you of course have some options. Not a huge amount of options like LXT, but there are a number of options here to consider. So this is the most common one right now. This is going to be the Gen 1 USA version, the GDT-01. This is very similar to, I would actually say it's a combination of the XDT 16 and 19. It has the all new features and buttons like the 19 does, but it has a more rounded, kind of a thicker, head up here like the 16. So it's kind of a combination of the last two generations of LXT Impact drivers to make this one. Now, this is kind of the more experimental one. This is going to be the Gen 2. This is from Japan, and this one, of course, is available in a couple of colors. I chose yellow because I like having a very visible color so I can see it rather easy. Like, hey, where I set my impact driver? Oh, there it is, because it's yellow. This is going to be the TD002G. And of course, this one has a number of features, just like the USA version Gen 1, but it adds in a Bluetooth capability that you have to buy a separate little pack for, and it also adds in the DST, which is a dual spring technology. Pretty cool stuff. But it's got some new features like 4 LEDs around the front ring as well too. But it also is one of the more expensive ones, of course, for XGT. So let's move on to the USA version, or Gen 2 here. This is going to be the GDT-02. Now, I kind of don't even really want to include this one, because this one took a number of steps backwards from the GDT-01. And I'm not really sure what Makita was thinking exactly with this one. Now, if we compare the two USA versions together here, the Gen 2 removes the glow ring. We have the same LEDs on the side, and then we also lose a number of features, screw modes and bolt removal modes. Those are all gone, unfortunately. So I'm not really sure what Makita is doing exactly with this Gen 2, and this is not cheap by any means. This is $400 in a kit with 2 batteries. So it's not like this is going to be a value, impact driver here, or a lower end one. They priced this thing right at the premium level. And there is actually no button here on front like there is with the other two as well. So I'll be including this one in the tests, but this one is pretty much third place right away from the get-go because it basically takes a couple steps backwards, and it's also one of the more expensive ones to pick up here. This one you can get on eBay or right now in a kit for right around $222 at Home Depot, or you can buy them on eBay open box for about $100. This one I actually ordered from Japan directly, got it for about $180 shipped, and not really a bad deal at all. I've been using this one a ton. This is my current daily use impact driver. Now, the Gen 2 is going to be probably the most expensive one here. I think it's right over $200 or so, tool only, but it's $400 in the kit. So kind of weird that it's the most expensive, but also the least number of features packed into it. So kind of strange there. So let's start off by checking out the weight of these impact drivers. All right, let's start off with the Gen 1 USA version. I'm including the batteries on all these because, of course, you can't use without batteries, so no point in weighing them without a battery. We are 3 pounds, 10.6 ounces for the Gen 1. We'll do the Gen 2 Japanese version. 3 pounds, 12.5 ounces, so slightly heavier. And let's check out the USA Gen 2, 3 pounds, 11.3 ounces. So here is your weight from lightest to heaviest. All right, so you're wondering who is the most compact. Here they are from the longest to the shortest, with the Gen 2 Japanese version being the shortest one of the bunch here. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in order of the release date for these. So I'm gonna start with the USA GTD-01. I'm going to do 8 decking screws that are self-driving, and what I'm going to do is use the exact same bit and a fully charged 2.5 amp hour battery on each impact. So this isn't just a test of power, but also control. I need to be able to start these without stripping out the screw, and I need to get each one of these in very smoothly. So let's start with the GDT-01. GDT-1 is very smooth. However, though, I felt like if I was in speed 3, not going for max speed there, I'd have better control and be able to sync these a bit more evenly. Not that it's like anything against the trigger control of this impact, but definitely putting these in not the highest speed for driving, regular screws like this is definitely the way to go. But of course, we're trying to go for speed here, so you can do this the fastest. So let's move on to the next one. We're going to do the Japanese version, Gen 2. All right, next up is the Japanese version, Gen 2. Let's see how well it does. Same number of screws, same high speed on 4. Let's check it out. All right, so one thing I definitely noticed on the Gen 2 is it definitely feels slower. If you notice, compared to the Gen 1 USA version, it feels like it's definitely impacting a lot quicker, whereas the Gen 1 USA version seems like it's got more initial torque, and that's able to definitely get those in a lot quicker. Now, if you look at my screw pattern here, they're definitely in a lot better than the Gen 1 USA version. And that's because they're basically going slower, so I actually have better control. I will say the trigger control on the Japanese version is definitely superior to the Gen 1 USA version. However, though, I definitely think the Gen 1 USA version definitely felt faster. I don't know the times just yet till I edit the video, but I think the Gen 1 USA version has definitely got everyone beat here. All right, let's try out the Gen 2 USA version. This is the GDT-02, and I got it in speed 4, same exact 2.5 amp hour battery. It's fully charged. Let's see how it does. Alright, so the GDT-02 felt a little bit rougher than the other two. I'm not sure if it's got a different type of impact mechanism in here. Speed-wise, I can't really tell where it did. I still feel like the USA Gen 1 was definitely the most powerful out of these three if I just had to guess from using them right now. When it does come to, trigger control, I think it's okay. I think the Japanese one definitely is a better, candidate for the best trigger control out of all three of these impact drivers. All right, so we had some great tests there between these 3 XGT impact drivers. Now, of course, there's going to be some subjective things to these, of course. I went over the weight, went over the size. We did a little speed test here as well. And of course, when it comes to, how each one feels in the hand is going to be quite, subjective. Everyone's hand is going to be different a little bit. So there's no real good way to test that. I will say, though, I like the Gen 1 USA version in the hand the best. From just trying that one out a little bit, it feels like it fits my hand really, really well, and just the grip on it is a bit better. I'll show you this really closely here too. If we look at the grip on the Japanese version, it's a bit smoother than the USA version. I'm not sure why that is. If your hand gets a little sweaty, a little wet, you can slip a bit more on that one, whereas the USA versions are definitely a little bit more of a coarse grip there. So I feel like it just sits in my hand really well and it doesn't want to move out. That's one of the little things that I've noticed between these two impact drivers, using them a little bit. Just slightly different grips there. And these have pretty much the exact same features. It's really just the DST, a slight bit of power difference between these two. There's not a massive amount of difference. However, though, from using both of these, if you had to ask my honest opinion, what I would say, should you order one from Japan or should you just buy the one in the US? I'm going to say I should just buy the one in the US, honestly. For the amount of speed difference here, it's not really that noticeable. DST, I kind of expect a little bit more out of that dual spring technology that would give it more power and more impacts when under load, but I'm not really seeing that too much. I think the Gen 1 USA version is honestly the best one out of all these three. So if you're wondering about this one, you know, the Gen 2 USA version, honestly, it doesn't even finish anywhere near. I would say buy an LXT XGT 16 or a 19 or the new TD173 before you buy this one. This one is a really weird release by Makita. It's feature less, pretty much. It lacks a lot of the features the newer ones have for more money, so I'm not really sure what Makita is trying to do there exactly. I have not really found anything this one excels at in any test I've done, and I've had this one in a few videos now, and it kind of comes dead last in almost every video. So if it's really going to be between the Japanese Gen 2 and the USA Gen 1 right now, and I think the USA Gen 1 kind of pulls ahead. Definitely, it's almost half the price of the Japanese Gen 2. You can't really use the Bluetooth on this one at all because the app isn't even available here in the States. It's in Japanese as well too, so I'm not even sure how you get the app anyways, because I know it's only in the Japan App Store, so not 100% sure on that one, but if anyone knows, leave me a comment below. When it comes to, you know, overall, it's not a massive difference between these three impact drivers, other than, of course, features, which these two have in spades. But if you're wondering, hey, should I spend the extra money and buy the Japanese version? Honestly, my take, summarizing the whole video at this point, I would say buy the USA Gen 1. That's the best one, in my opinion, from all three of these so far. The Gen 2 is definitely nice to have from Japan, but I would say let's wait until a Gen 3 and Gen 4 come out. I think those will be leaps and bounds better than these, but the Gen 1 is really, you know, it's pulling the strengths from the XGT 16 and the XGT 19 at the same time. It's absolutely a fantastic impact driver. Very impressed with it so far. So guys, hope that has some questions on, you know, if you're in an XGT platform, it's expensive, so there's a lot of stuff to buy right now, and you know, you don't necessarily want to buy everything right now because it's quite pricey, but if you're going to buy one impact driver, I definitely say stick with the USA Gen 1. It's right now, it's quite affordable, and it's got all the features you're really looking for, as well as all the power you could need. So guys, thanks for watching, take care, stay safe out there, and have a great day.